I wanted to be an actor since I was like 7. I've always known that's what I wanted to do. I'm so glad I didn't go to drama school, because drama school sort of strips you of who you are, and actually you get hired for who you are. It's literally the point of art, is to see something through somebody else's eyes. And as soon as we're not able to do that as a society, we're doomed. You work and work and work and work, and you might not get noticed. But if you're led by somebody who's a good leader, when you do well, they will notice it.
Welcome to the Great Women podcast. I'm Franny.
And I'm Ollie, and today we're delighted to welcome Amaka Okafor, the British actor whose diverse body of work encompasses high-stakes dramas, character-driven storytelling, and some really, really brilliant thrillers.
Amaka has carved a remarkable path in the acting world, transitioning from community theatre to the West End, and she has since had standout roles in Netflix's Bodies and The Black Rabbit.
In this episode, we'll delve into Amaka's journey, exploring her early life and cultural identity, her breakthrough into the industry, and how she's embraced challenging roles that resonate with her. We'll also discuss her personal inspirations that continue to shape her life and craft today. Welcome, Amaka.
Thank you. What an amazing introduction.
Oh, we're so delighted to have you on. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So you were born in Birmingham to a Nigerian father and an Indian mother. What did you take from each of those cultures growing up? Let's start there.
Oh, wow. That is a massive question. Well, I feel very lucky to be from both of those countries, continents. Like, really, they had to sort of get married in secret. My mum had to run away from home to marry my dad, because to marry a white guy would have been bad enough, but to marry a black man was like the worst thing she could have done. So it was very real, like being worried for their lives. And so she sort of had to cut that part of her out for a bit. So I think for my first years, it was very Nigerian, because my dad, and we went back to Nigeria a lot when I was little, and I don't remember a time when I didn't know Nigeria, and he would cook Nigerian food and all of that stuff. And then when my parents separated when I was like 8, 9, my mum gradually found her way back to her family, sort of could own her culture a bit more, and then that sort of started to affect me. And there's a lot of similarities between the cultures, like hugely, actually. The way you are with your elders, you're very family based, sort of good and bad, actually, like a bit oppressive, but also comes from real care and love. But food actually is my way in. Like when I felt like I really couldn't access my Asian side, I was like, right, I'm just going to learn how to cook the food. So I've learned how to make curries, roti, and that's like I can make it really well now. And that was a really good way in. Do you know what I mean?
Can I come over to your house and taste some of those delicious? I love food.
Yeah. Come, we'll have a feast. Yeah, that's the thing that I love about Birmingham. The communities are real communities. And I feel comfortable and at home there.
Can we talk a bit about your early introduction to acting? Did you start that when you were living in Birmingham? How did you ever get into acting and discover a passion for it?
Well, my dad's a massive movie lover, so I watched loads of movies with him from a really young age. But my godfather, when my parents separated, I think I went a bit like middle finger up to the world. And my godfather said to my mum, send her to youth theatre. And so there was this youth theatre in Birmingham called Stage 2. And my mum sent me there. It was very white, actually. I was the only black kid there. And I had no friends. It was really cliquey. But it was run by this woman who expected such high standards from us and put on such amazing productions that I was like, I don't care that I don't have any friends. I don't care that I feel really awkward and self-conscious. I need to be here. I need to be here. I need to be doing these plays. The theatre, it was at the Midlands Arts Centre, which is in the middle of this park called Cannon Hill Park. And they've got this beautiful little theatre that's like a proper proscenium arch, but kind of small. Mm. And it's got the dressing rooms with the lights around the mirrors. It's got like a proper fly floor. It's got like the velvet seats and the big velvet curtain. Like it's got the traditional theatre stuff. And we did like Bugsy Malone and Oliver. And like, I loved it so much that when I had to decide about schools, leaving Birmingham was what I ended up doing to go to school, and leaving that drama, that youth theatre, was the hardest part of leaving Birmingham for me, actually.
It's really interesting that your love of it, the actual acting, and the way that the director kind of, had sort of was kind of overrode like the fact that it was cliquey and you didn't have any friends. You just didn't care about that. It was just, you wanted to go there, you wanted to do your thing. And I think that just shows like how much of it was kind of just innate, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've never thought about it like that, actually. Like, I kept going back. Like, I really, really wanted to be there. And I was so uncomfortable.
You were uncomfortable. It wasn't like you were just immune. You felt the discomfort.
Oh my God. Yeah, I felt so like, oh, I'm doing everything wrong. But when we got it, because I was always just a chorus member, but there was just something about learning the thing we were all supposed to be doing, getting it right. And like, I don't know how to describe it, but like when a play works, when everyone's doing the thing they're supposed to be doing at the right time with the lights and the sound, like it's magical. It's just magical. So cool. There's a work ethic that I feel like I really learnt through that and through school, that you nail the chorus, you nail those supporting ensemble things, that you hold you hold the whole up. And you're a small cog, but it's important. And to really understand your small part in making this big thing work. And then when you shine, you get praise. And then you might get a bit more of a line. You might get a slightly bigger part. And that's what happened at school as well. Like, it wasn't until I was in the upper sixth that I got a proper leading part. And I feel like that has trained me, because I didn't go to drama school, but I feel like that has been my training of like, you work and work and work and work, and you might not get noticed. But if you're led by somebody who's a good leader, when you do well, they will notice it, and they will let you know that they've seen you. And it spurs you on, and it makes you want to stick at it more.
Can you tell us, I've heard you talk about this incredible teacher who really saw that you were going to act, and you needed to act, and it was your thing, and he believed in you. I just found that inspirational hearing you talk about it before, and I want you to tell us about him.
Mr. Turner, absolute ledge. I love Mr. Turner. He still comes to see my plays. I love him.
So was he at your secondary school?
Yeah. Yeah, and he just was very ambitious with these pieces that he'd get us to do, and so patient. Like, we were a nightmare. Mr. Turner just took me seriously, and he saw that it was what I wanted to do. And when we were doing A levels, I was saying that I finally we did the Caucasian Chalk Circle, and he gave me the lead part, which I'd never had before. And my teachers, my A level teachers, had this sort of meeting behind my back, basically with him, basically saying, she's not academic enough to be able to carry this play and also pass her A levels, so you're going to have to pull her out of the play. And he just went, if you make me do that, I will quit my job. And so, unbeknownst to me, I'm just like blissfully doing the play. And it was like, when I was auditioning to get into university, it was my speech from that play that I did. And then when I had auditions for like Shakespeare stuff after university, actually, I called Mr. Turner and I was like, can you help me with the text? Because I don't understand it. And so I just sat in his kitchen, and he like broke down these speeches for me and helped me. And he also really said, I remember him saying, because he was our English teacher as well. And I remember him saying this one thing that I'll never forget. We were reading a book. Like, that's the thing I miss about school the most, is everybody reading the same book at the same time and talking about it. And I remember him saying, whatever opinion you have is valid, as long as you can back it up by something in the text. Anything, you can have any opinion you want. Just show me something from the text that backs it up. And honestly, that just blew my mind. It made me read things. It just took the pressure off feeling like I'm supposed to get it right. You could read it, feel what you feel, and go, this is valid because it says this. This is my take.
And that's just so valuable, like open interpretation, and not always sort of thinking, oh, I have to sort of remember what some other like critic has said about this book. You know, I can actually like have faith in my own response to this piece of art. And that's my big bugbear about how English can be taught, in that it's so prescribed. You kind of forget everything creative after about 8 when we stop doing creative writing in this country. It's mad. And then it's all about this turgid sort of criticism of stuff that just churning out other people's views. Well, I don't know if it's changed a bit now. My kids are young still, but it just irritates me. And that sounds brilliant, what he said.
Yeah, I feel like it's such a shame that that creative writing stops at such a young age.
I know. But he's also reminding me of a film I watched recently as part of my educating my children through film, because which was Dead Poets Society.
What did they make of it?
Well, my 12-year-old, he loved it. I mean, it's hardcore. I forgot. I hadn't watched it for years, but I knew the sort of theme. No, it was just brilliant, and it just opened up so many conversations.
And is the reason you did drama at university, is that because of Mr. Turner? Were you like, I just want to kind of go and immerse myself in this? Because you said you didn't go to drama school, so kind of what?
Oh no, I just didn't think I didn't really understand what drama school was. No one really told me, so I just didn't know it was a thing, really. And also, I sort of wasn't allowed to put it down on my UCAS form. Like, the school was not behind me wanting to be an actor. I wanted to be an actor since I was like 7. I've always known that's what I wanted to do. So it was a no-brainer that whatever I was going to do after school was going to be something that was going to prepare me for that. But the school, it's actually wild because they've now done these like posters that they've put around the campus. And I'm on one of them in the school. And I nearly called them to be like, can you take that down, please? Or to just go, do you know what? It was really complicated for me, my experience at school.
Don't pretend you back me all the way.
Yeah. And also race-wise, it was rough being one of the only non-white people. But then I thought, you know what? There might be other kids there that might be having a similar experience. And to have a picture of me up there might make them feel a bit less like the only one, which I'm sure it's not the way it was when we were there now. But, you know.
Yeah.
I hope you're right.
Me too, but probably not. But
can you tell us about, I want to hear about what it was like studying drama. You went to Liverpool, John Moores University, didn't you? And it sounded like an amazing course, actually. And I don't know how different it would have been to drama school. Can you tell us what it was?
Yeah, I've been quite embarrassed by it for most of my life. And now I'm actually like, it was brilliant, because I'm so glad I didn't go to drama school, because drama school sort of strips you of who you are. And actually you get hired for who you are, really. And in our course, the first year we did sort of acting, and we did like devising. It was mainly a devising course where you're basically making something from nothing, making a piece from nothing. And our facilities, we were basically like in this massive house that used to be, I think it was like a Jewish school for girls, actually, but it was just like a big massive house. And we had this like black box theatre sort of in the heart of it, that when we put on plays, we painted it, we built the set, we learned how to do lights and sound, we directed each other. When you were in the first year, the third years directed you in their final pieces, and the second years did the lights and sound and built the sets. And we did these like amazing community, like one of our modules was called community theatre, where we basically had to go into Liverpool, find a group of people to make a piece for. And me and 2 other mates did this piece about eating disorders, obviously, because you're like tortured and young. And so we're like doing this piece that we did for a Slim Fast for Weight Watchers, this Weight Watchers.
What?
We went to this like Weight Watchers group that met in this like church hall on a Thursday, did it for them, and they actually, it just opened debate, which I just think is the point. It's the point of art, is to like get people talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we took it to boarding school. We took it to my old school.
Oh wow!
And like ran a workshop afterwards, and like did some like improvisational workshops with them, and like got them to talk about it. And these boys, right? that were talking about their body image, basically, which I just hadn't expected, because I was like, boys are fine. I don't care about boys. But actually, they were like doing these kind of soliloquies about feeling the pressure to work out and feeling fat. And it was just, yeah, it was interesting doing it, taking it to Melbourne. And I found a letter actually from Mr. Turner just the other day, actually. I was clearing out loads of stuff and I found a letter from him saying, thank you so much for coming. It was really interesting and the kids really liked it. Anytime you want to come back and just run some stuff, please do.
Oh,
That's fantastic. And so from there, and with all this, I suppose, training you had throughout your degree, you then went and worked in community theatre. So was that transition kind of fairly easy, given you'd kind of already done it?
Actually, yes, I've never thought of it like that, but yes, I sort of started it expecting like a shock, but actually I was like, oh no, I know this. I can do this. Like, loved it. It's like the hardest work I've ever done, but I really, really enjoyed it.
When you're doing that, you're touring the country and going around sort of different, is it institutions where you're then putting on plays? How does it work?
Well, we did different ones. So the first one was kind of churches. And so you basically, it's 3 months or 4 months of one-nighters. And because of the way they booked the tour, it was like zigzagging up the country.
absolutely knackering.
And we had the van. So we had this long wheelbase Mercedes Sprinter, which is like a beautiful van, by the way. It's so nice to drive. But there's 4 of you. The set is in the back of the van. So you drive down to Penzance, you put the set up, the church like give you a meal, you do the show, you take the set apart, put it back in the van, and then the church congregation you go and sleep in these strangers' houses, and then you meet at the van the next morning and drive up to Manchester, do the same in Manchester. And it was very, very interesting.
And do they do a sort of whip round to pay you? How do you get paid?
No, the theatre company paid us. Like, it was not great money, but I was also like just so gassed that I was getting paid to be an actor. I just didn't care, because I just lived at home. Like, as soon as we finished uni, I just went back to live with my family. And so anytime I got a job, I would go and live wherever that job was, or like on the road or whatever. But one of the tours we did was a prisons tour. So we would specifically take this show that we devised into prisons and then do a bit of a little workshop with them after. And that one, that was amazing. It's the one job that when it's ended, I wasn't ready for it to end. Because it just feels like ongoing work, and it felt like people really needed it.
Was that show that you produced only for prisons? So you devised it with that audience in mind? And then you do what was it about?
Well, it was devised with them in mind, but anybody could watch it. So it was called Hope's Kitchen, and it was set in like a kitchen, and we had like a baby belling little oven as part of the set. And so we would tell each other these stories whilst baking bread, put the bread in the oven, and by the time the show was ended, the bread was ready, and we'd share it with the audience. Basically, we'd have like a plate of butter and a plate of jam, and we'd like take this soda bread around basically and just eat it and talk basically. And so the themes in the play were to do with redemption, about forgiving yourself, about forgiving people who have wronged you. And we did a section of The Tempest. I don't know if you know The Tempest, but there's a character, Prospero, who is just so angry by being wronged by his brother. Like, it's consumed him for years. And there's this one speech where he really goes into it, and we sort of did a sort of stylized version of that speech. And that seemed to be the bit that really resonated with the prisoners, because they all have a beef. They've got a beef with someone. Like, whether they did the thing or not, there's someone wronged them, whether it's a system, whether it's a family member, but whatever, they feel betrayed. And they were very open about why they were in there. Like, if we had one-on-ones, I found people really telling me what they did, which sometimes was like a lot. Like, there's one guy that I think about. It's probably 3 people actually that I still think about. And this was like, I was like, what, 22? It's a good like 24 years ago, 22 years ago. My maths is not very good. I'm 44. Yeah, 23 years ago. It's still like these people, prison is not, it's not rehabilitation.
No,
No.
it's punishment.
Honestly, I think we've just got the wrong attitude. What's the point of it if it's not rehabilitation and you're not forgiven?
You've just got this mark by your name now.
Well, that's amazing. It must have been just, I mean, I love that, the use of the arts kind of actually in the community. I think it's hugely important. And I feel it's really sad that lots of these, community arts theatres are kind of struggling now. Well, at least they are around us. I mean, there are still some quite vibrant sort of amateur groups.
It's a different thing, though. That's sort of a different thing. Although I have such respect for the amateur groups, it's not sort of doing the thing that what you were talking about with your kids, like watching the Dead Poets Society and then talking. It raises, that's literally the point of art, is to see something through somebody else's eyes. And as soon as we're not able to do that, as a society, we're doomed. Like we keep making the same mistakes because we cannot understand other people. And I think like theatre is the thing for me. Art, films, music. Do you know what I mean? There are people who are racist, who have watched something and their mind has been altered slightly because of watching something that has shown them a different perspective. And I just think film and television and theatre really help us with that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And the arrogance of just thinking that, you as one individual, one life, suddenly be empathize with all different things just by living your own life is you can use, as you say, film, the arts, reading to get other viewpoints. And it's the only way, you can't live all these people's lives. So yeah, after doing that, you got that job, the first kind of community theatre job, didn't you? Because had you done some work experience with them first? And then what did you do when that ended? And also, I've always wanted to ask actors, it's like, even when I used to do plays and things, like there's such a sense of disappointment when the whole thing ends and you've become such good friends with the people. I mean, but you doing that for months, touring in your van, and then it ends, and then what? It must be quite sad at the end of all of it. But I suppose you've made friends, and then you just everybody moves on to the new job.
If there is a new job.
Yes. But what did you do after that?
I have always lived at home. And so when on my first job, that one, my little sisters were born, like on our first night of performing, twins. And I remember just being like, I am not going to be this distant older sister that they don't really see. There's 22 years between us. I'm not disappearing. And so every time a job ended, I was home. And I like sort of took over the childcare, and my ex stepmom was at work, and me and my dad basically did all the childcare together. And it's in the countryside, and there's just something about it was just important. And so it stopped me being like, oh my God, what's the next job? They're casting for this. Why haven't they seen me for it? I just was home doing the childcare. And for the first 2 years of my career, I basically just did community theatre with that theatre company and another theatre company based in Swindon, because somebody from that company saw me in one of those shows. So I just got offered a job. So I sort of ping-ponged between those two theatre companies for 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. And then the prison show that we did, we also performed that in a small little studio theatre in Paddington. And I managed to get an agent off the back of that performance. And then things gradually started to change. Well, bit by bit, I was sort of making the kind of progress that I wanted to make.
And so an agent, they basically, just for people that don't know, they basically are your kind of eyes and ears as to what's available and what's on the ground. Is that right?
Exactly. They're the ones that fight for you to get seen, really. They're the ones where, so the breakdown, the casting breakdown goes out to the agents, which is like, this is the film we're doing. We're looking for these characters, and each character has a description. The agents look at those and suggest people on their books for those characters, send it to the casting directors. The casting directors choose who they want to see, if they want to see anybody. And so without an agent, it is very hard to work, like really, really hard.
So the agent is a game changer. You need the agent.
100%, yeah. And my first agent, who I was with for quite a big chunk of years, was actually a co-op, which is like a group of actors who kind of agent for each other. So you take it in turns to do work in the office and see these casting breakdowns come in, read them, and you suggest each other. And that was I'm so grateful for having that experience. I hated doing the office work. I'm terrible in an office, but it taught me what people are looking for. Like, there was one guy who was kind of the main guy, and every time I was in, he was like, Amaka, you are taking too long, because every time a breakdown comes through, I'm like, well, I mean, I think Sharon could do that. Sharon could play that part, and like a postman from Devon, and Sharon's like, black and from East London. And I'm like, she could do that because of my background of like devising and like a very small ensemble, and we're all playing everything and we're all doing accents. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like, the casting directors want someone who is basically from that. They don't want to have to do any imagining. They want us to. And so it was a real, like, I was like, oh shit, okay,
I know,
right.
but it's depressing though. I
It's
did
very depressing.
because I was actually, when I laughed about, I did hear you say about that somewhere before.
Oh, did you?
And I just love that. And I'm sure I'd be the same, like, just like thinking of how, surely you can mold anyone into that. But it made me just think on a sort of other level, like, is theatre, if you're gonna be like putting someone who doesn't fit the bill like into a role, is it more likely to happen in theatre because you can be more experimental with it than it is film? Yeah, of course it is, I suppose.
That's just the beautiful thing about theatre. You're just...
But I love theatre. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I feel like I haven't been in ages, but it's so like, it feels like everyone in that room is just buying into this sort of, you're making a contract with each other that you're going to say, you say to them, come with us. Just come with us and trust us. And that first sort of 5 minutes of a play, I think, is so crucial, because you have to teach the audience that they can trust you, so that you can then just be magical. So you can then show them things that are like, that don't make sense, but they're with you because they trust you. Do you know what I mean? I'm so gassed that people go to the theatre. So pleased that people still go, because it's so expensive.
It is. What was your first play in the West End?
I've only done one, I think.
Or was that Hamlet?
Oh no, maybe that is the West End. Is the Barbican the West End?
Oh, let's call it the West
I
End.
think of it as like the West End, because it's like
because it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't even know how to answer that, because my first big play, it felt for me, was a tour, but it was like a #1 tour, which means you're going into massive receiving houses, and it was called Tracy Beaker Gets Real, and it was like
the Tracy Beaker.
Yeah. But it was like the first play I did where I wasn't setting my own props, where I was in a dressing room just waiting to do the play. Like, I wasn't putting the set together. I was just responsible for warming myself up, making sure I'm dressed, and then like doing the play. And I remember stepping out onto the stage and just being like, this is humongous. And also the audience are in the dark. Like, I can't see them. Normally I'm in some like community hall with strip lights. Like, So I'd say that was my first, and it was a big 8-month tour where we were in a different town every week, which was huge. But then I feel like actually doing Hamlet at the Barbican, because I've done 2 Hamlets. One was at the Almeida, which is on Upper Street, and one was at the Barbican. And those also felt like big moments. The Barbican was first, and that was with Benedict Cumberbatch playing Hamlet. And I actually didn't realise what a big deal he was at the time. That would have been 2015 when we did that. And it wasn't until we came out of the stage door on our first performance,
And there was a massive queue of people.
There was like a barricade to stop people. And I was like, oh wow, this is a big deal. And I was like a spear carry, like I had a tiny part, and I was understudying Ophelia.
Yes, which is cool.
Oh yeah, I loved that. I really enjoyed that. But then doing Hamlet at the Almeida with this director called Rob Icke, who actually Lindsay Turner directed the one at the Barbican, and I love her, and I've since worked with her like 3 other times, and she's like, if she asked me to do a play without telling me what it was, I'd say yes. She's like one of the most favorite people I've ever worked with. And then at the Almeida, I worked with a director called Rob Icke, who is also a brilliant, brilliant director. and Andrew Scott played Hamlet in that
Oh,
one.
is he from
Which,
Fleabag? Hunky Priest
yes,
or whatever. I love him.
oh yeah, I like him.
Yes.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's really good,
Yeah,
and
I think he's a brilliant actor. I've seen him something
he's
else
amazing.
as well. Yeah.
Well, he's really good at making the text sound like new writing, and so like,
Yes, that must be really hard because you've heard it so many times.
but that also felt like a big deal because I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I had a bigger part, but it was a bit of a turning point for me where I was like, okay, I'm not doing any more plays where I'm not playing the part that I would like to be playing in this piece. So it went into town, and I decided not to go into town with it because I wanted to be Ophelia. Like, if I'm going to be
Yeah.
in it, let me be like the character that I want to be, or I will wait for. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And is that when you changed agent as well? Again, because you've had a couple of agents, haven't you?
Yeah. So I changed to a different agent by then, but then the agent that I'm with now has been my game changer agent, Alice.
Yeah. How long have you been with her?
I always do it on my daughter's age. So I reckon she's 11 now, and I think she's probably about 6, maybe 6 years ago. Yeah. And I really had to court her. Like, we'd had a few meetings, and she was just like, "You've done excellent theatre. Why are you not doing telly?" And I was like, "I don't know. This is why I'm trying to change agents. Like, I can't even get in the room. It's not like I was having auditions and not getting the jobs. I wasn't even getting auditions." And she was like, "If I take you on, it's going to be a lot of work, and I don't want to take you on if I don't think I can do that for you." So she came and saw me in a play. She was like, "I didn't like the play, but you were good."
I mean, she's brutally honest, but
Yeah, I love her so much. And then she was like, "Okay, let's do it." And she has worked her absolute socks off, introducing me to casting directors that didn't know me, getting me into the room. And you can just see, like, I'm like doing work that she has worked so hard for me. She wanted things for me that I sort of didn't dream to want for myself. And she encouraged me to turn down things because I did not come from a like turning down things background. I'm a like on the make
I'll do
opportunity
it.
hustle. Yeah. And she was like, "Stop doing things for your mates for free. Stop doing this sort of work. Stop doing that sort of work." And it's just really cool. I love her so much. And she's like moved up round the corner, and like,
Wow.
she's changed it for me.
Can you tell us a bit about is there a difference between auditioning for a play and TV roles? I'm assuming one is you're in the theatre giving it a go on the stage, and the other one, you mentioned that they're all online. It sounds horrific.
Oh, they are now. Actually, theatre, you don't do it on the stage. You like go to some pokey room somewhere and do it. But actually, self tapes for screen stuff, I actually, they've born out of COVID really, and I don't love it. But what it's been really good for is watching it's forced me to watch myself. So you do the self tape and you look at it and are like repulsed by yourself, but also you see the moments that you like about what you're doing. And then you can go, "Okay, I can do it. So let me just do less of this and let me do more of that." And it's my quality of self tapes and my quality of acting, I think, has improved drastically since self tapes have become a thing. It's just annoying because you want to be in the room, because like when it's self tapes, I'm like, you're probably seeing 150 people for this role. How are you choosing? The sound is probably off while you're watching this. Whereas when you book a room, they book a room for a Tuesday and a Wednesday. There's only a certain number of people they can see in that time, and it forces them to be serious about the people that they invite. Do you know what I mean? Whereas self tapes, I feel like they can just invite everybody, just do a massive cattle call, and we'll all do it because we want to work.
And when you auditioned for Black Rabbit, did you have to do it in an American accent?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. How did you hone that skill, shall we say?
Childhood, messing around.
Really?
Like, the American accent's just in me. Well, I just think maybe because we watched like the stuff in our culture we got so much American stuff. And actually, I wasn't really allowed to watch television very much, but the two shows I was allowed to watch were The Cosby Show and Top of the Pops. And so, like, American, we were just doing American all the time. I still do it when I'm being silly. Do you know what I mean?
And what are the main differences between working in the UK versus the US?
God, that's a good question. Well, I haven't really worked in the US very much. I've only done Black Rabbit, and it was such a top quality piece. It felt like it just had everybody who was at the top of their game. And everyone just wanted to be there. There was no complaining. There was no like, oh, complaining about long hours or anything like that. Everyone wanted to be there. Everyone wanted to bring their top game. And it was very kind. It felt like a really kind, lovely environment to be working in. I had such a great time on that gig. Like, really, it was the best job of my life. I really loved
So,
it.
so it was a sort of pinch me moment.
Every time, every day. I was out there for 6 months, and so I took my daughter with me and managed to get her into a school over there. And I remember just being like, don't forget this. Just don't forget this. Honestly, I just was like, don't forget that pizza that we just ate, that slice of pizza that was delicious. Like I had the best summer of my life. And you know, like in New York, once the summer hits, it's just summer. You're not like
I
checking the
know.
weather to see if you need a jacket. Like it's the summer. And everyone's out. It feels like Brooklyn like celebrates the fact that it's the summer. There's always music happening. Everyone's
Yeah.
just out. I just had a great time.
If the opportunity arose, would you move like there?
I would love to live between the two. I think I'm very British, which is something I would never have described myself as in the past. But our humor and the way we're a bit like, oh, shut up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that about us, but being black over there is easier, and probably more specifically New York. Say I was in a different state, I don't think I would have had the same experience. I think politics of New York is very unique, but I also feel like there's just no way I could move my child to a country where people can carry guns. And like the NHS is just, as much as it's on its knees, it's a lifesaver. How I just can't imagine moving away from that. But if I was ever fortunate enough to be able to like have a little apartment in Brooklyn and be there half the year and be here half the year, girl,
You're there.
yeah.
So when did it come out? And how long is it still on Netflix for?
Oh, I don't know how long it's on Netflix for actually, because it's a Netflix show, so I'm hoping it's just going to be on there forever.
Oh,
But it
brilliant.
came out in September.
For anyone who hasn't seen it, it's absolutely brilliant. And I highly, highly recommend it. It was gripping. It was gripping. And there's a good twist. And I love a twist. So
Oh, I'm so glad you liked it. Thanks for watching it.
I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. And I also, and it was a massive compliment, I didn't think, oh, it's somebody I know playing a role, if that makes sense. So
I'll take that and I'll put that in my pocket. Thank you so much. Massive, massive compliment for someone who's known me since I was like 16. Thank you.
And so what's next for you? It's been amazing. You kind of have worked your way up. You now have this massive Netflix success, and you've had a couple of I can't even say it, Netflix successes.
Oh, that's a good tongue twister.
And I know it takes time and all of that stuff, but what are you kind of aiming for?
I'd love to do a film where I get to be a main character. I'd love that. And a really good play. I'd love to do a really good play, like a four-hander, where it's like just good text, like really good writing, really good acting. I mean, I've got a couple of things coming out in 2026 that I'm just sort of pop up and do a little thing in. But I think I would like to just sit tight and be at home with my daughter, if I can afford to, until something comes along that's really going to stretch me, that I really want to do.
Can I ask what? Because that must be really hard. You know, she's your daughter, and acting and just is really full on. Even if it was a local big theatre performance, that would still be hard, wouldn't it?
Oh my gosh, theatre's worst for
It's
taking.
worse, yeah.
Yeah, because you never do. You do bedtime one night a week. You get to do bedtime on a Sunday. Were you about to ask me what my support is?
Yeah, do your parents help? I was going to ask.
Her grandparents on her dad's side really helped me. So they live in Tottenham, and which is not far from me. And so they really saved my bacon. And the last couple of years, my mum has started stepping in a bit more. So when I did Bodies, which was up in Leeds, that was just brutal on my daughter because I was getting the train up to Leeds on a Sunday, being there Monday to Friday, and then legging it back to London on a Friday night, getting Saturday together and a bit of Sunday, and then going back up. And so her grandparents, her dad's parents and my mum basically shared that childcare.
Is she into acting?
Well, I'd have said no because she's quite shy when she's in front of other people. At home, she's like a mentalist, but in front of other people, she's quite shy. But then she did come home the other day and say performing arts, she really enjoyed it because the people in her group she had a laugh with. And I was like, it's fun when you're with your mates, isn't it? And she was like, yeah. So I don't know what. I think she's deeply creative and she's got a good outside eye. And so I think she'd be a brilliant director or like a camera operator or like an engineer. Like there's just so many things she could do. But sort of me suggesting things is almost like a nail in the coffin. So
don't do it. Don't do it. Let her.
I'm just letting her just do what she wants to do. Yeah.
And so what do you do to relax?
Walking in the countryside, my fave. I go to the gym. I work out quite a lot, which really helps my mind. Yeah. I love like sweating. I just love exercising and like it really sorts me out. It like just connects me in a way that helps me and makes things feel possible that didn't feel possible. Even like a text that I don't know how to respond to. If I save it for when I'm going on a run or if I'm on the cross trainer or something, doors open in my mind that were sort of shut before where I'm like, okay, I know how to I can handle it. Do you know what I mean?
Have you been recognised on the street yet? Has that happened?
It has actually happened.
Oh my God.
Which I just was not expecting. It's so funny. Like when people, excuse me, I'm expecting them to be like, do you know where blah blah is? But they've been like, excuse me, I don't mean to be. And then they'll say, are you in Black Rabbit? And it's always seems to be Black people and brown people that have recognized me, which is really, really interesting. That they're the people that have recognized me and then said something. But it's lovely. And also it did happen at the gym. It's happened at the gym a couple of times, which I don't love.
Oh no, I'd be like,
I don't know why people. I find it really cringy if I'd see someone famous. I'd never go and say, "Are you?"
Oh, but you know what? I've done it. So, like, I remember. Do you know who Miriam Margolyes is?
Yes. She's really cool.
Love her. So I was on the tube about to get off the tube. She was on the platform about to get on the tube, and the doors parted. And I went, "Oh my God, it's you!" And she went, "It is me." And I went, "I love you." And she went, "Thank you." And by the time the exchange was over, like I was on the platform and she was on the train, and then the doors just closed. It's like, I love her.
Now, ladies, we're running out of time.
Oh, sorry. I feel like I spend too long answering each question as well. Sorry.
No,
it was great. Thank you.
Now, we like to end on, we have two questions that we ask everyone. So if you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Fuck. That's not the advice. Just fuck. No, would be, I think, just trust your instincts.
I like that, yeah.
Trust your instincts, and there's that small voice inside yourself, which my dad always says is that's the voice of God inside you. And he was always like, that voice is quiet, but it's consistent. And if you can't hear it, it's because everything around you is too loud. So just turn everything down and just zone in on yourself and just listen to what you're telling yourself. And it's usually the right thing to do.
I think that's fantastic. And the last but not least, if you could have a cocktail with one great woman, who would it be? And most importantly, what would you drink?
Ooh, a Negroni.
Good choice. Very good choice.
I really struggled with this question because like the first person that popped into my head was Nina Simone, because she was just brilliant. I'd be a bit scared, but also like she really did her thing at a time when it was probably felt very difficult to. And she really broke through lots of boundaries, and she's such an artist. She's such an artist, and can straddle the sort of commercial world and also the sort of more experimental world with such ease. And I would love to sit down and talk with her about how she stayed true to that artistry and how she shut out the no's, like shut out the barriers that she was probably experiencing, you know, and just kept on her track. But there's another woman. Am I allowed to say? But I'll be super quick.
Go on.
Yes, of course.
No, you're like, no, not really. We don't need to. It's one person. In fact, no, I'm not going to because I actually don't know her name. So
Now you're going to have a party and we've got to hear every single invite.
then, no,
Have you really forgotten?
no, I don't. I actually don't know her name, and I meant to ask my dad. She's a Igbo, so I'm from the Igbo tribe in Nigeria, and there's an Igbo woman who was a warrior basically, and she fought off the advances of the English for a really long time. And there's a statue in her name, but I just don't know her name, which is terrible.
We can look it up. And we'll
But I basically need to wait till my dad gets up, and he's not going to get up till like 1. So I was going to call him this morning to ask him, and I forgot to do it. But it would be her. Like I'd want to talk to her, but although alcohol might not be the thing. Maybe some palm wine. That's our tradition.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I love talking to you.
It's been brilliant.
Thanks for having me.